Okay, if we're ready, are you ready with that?
We're ready.
Okay, I will call to order the town commission work session at 6 p.m. July 12th. We'll dispense with the pledge and the invocation till we get to regular meeting, and I will open it up and turn it over probably to you, Steve.
All right, so what we've got going on tonight is we've gone through a process for an assistant town manager. So the opportunity presented itself for the assistant town manager position when we started to move forward with painting the way we do planning. So we are, as Jay retires at the end of the month, we won't have a planning director, we won't have an assistant planning director. We're going to have a consultant that takes care of those duties. And it gave me the opportunity to look at, and discussions with the mayor, we're part of this, to look at bringing in an assistant town manager. And it makes a lot of sense. Like I said, we went through a process, we put it out, it was on Port Lincoln Cities, FCCMA. Got some great applicants. I had an interview panel. We went through 5 interviews. I had great interviews, but Jack Butler here rose to the top, and he's the consensus of the committee and myself with his experience and his background really kind of led us to using him, bringing him forward as a candidate. But the opportunity for having an assistant town manager is we've got a lot of great things going on with the town. We're growing, being that small town that everybody likes to call Mayberry. I think we're transitioning into being and organizationally, we also need to make that transition. We've got the population, I'm sure is over 4,000 now. We've got at least another 300 or 400 residential units that will be being built over the next couple of years, as well as the development out on Highway 50. And there's a lot of policy, process, procedure improvements from an organizational level that can be made to take us into that transition. We become Oakland, and we become a 6,000 or 7,000 people, town. And we want to make sure we're taking care of customer service. We want to make sure we're taking care of the residents. We want to make sure we're being, responsive to what the commission wants, with the policy and also, making sure that we're bringing the town forward to what it's going to be. I keep looking at a 50-year horizon. What we do now, back the town, 50 years. So with that, Jack brings a lot of those characteristics on being able to start organizing those detailed things to make sure that we are consistent in what we're doing and we're doing it the best way that we can, and we're really responsive to the residents, of the town. So I look at this as a great opportunity as we're transitioning. With that, I'm going to let Jack introduce himself, and then it really just kind of meant to be conversational. Y'all can, introduce yourselves, and then just, give a little bit of your thoughts about the town and ask him about his background. So with that, I will, give Jack the opportunity to introduce himself, give you a little bit of his background, and then we can go from there.
Thanks. The only thing I'll say before you get started is no matter what our town manager says, we always will be Mayberry. We might squeeze our way to Mount Pilot. Mount Airy. That's the real one. You can't do the real one, which is a great place. I've been there. Yes.
Don't ever refer to us as a city or a town.
Those dirty words.
Our mayor will jump all over you.
You were initially incorporated as a city.
Yeah, but don't say that either.
Oh, man, the guy's done some homework that he shouldn't have done.
Sound like Bo Hoffer.
You go right ahead, sir.
Oh, thank you. I've worked with the local, state, federal government all my life. I started when I was 19 years old. I was an intern for Governor Carter. He sent me up to the mountains of North Georgia and said, we need to clean this place up. We got junk cars in every ravine. We got washing machines dumped out in people's backyards. So we put together they called it then white goods recycling program. And we had trucks with big winches pulling those cars out of the ditches, and drive up there now, you won't see all those things because we put together solid waste management for those folks. And that was 15 hours of an A grade in my senior year of school, so it's all good. But it got me interested in government service and doing that kind of work. I actually got a degree in what they call big data now. You know, the Google stuff where they have the massive databases, and we're supposed to do a lot of predictive work for businesses, things of that type. But that experience as an intern got me excited about it. So I actually got a job in the Regional Planning Commission there in Athens, Georgia. I went to the University of Georgia. And I was essentially the only staff person most of those communities had. And we did a lot of very fundamental things. So I learned the planning profession. I'm a certified planner, helping them set up development rules and being able to deal with a lot of unique situations, very historic communities in some respects. A lot of places very much like Oakland that were trying to really survive at that point. Population decline in Northeast Georgia had started in 1920 with boll weevil distressing the cotton industry, the Depression, World War II, mechanization of agriculture. So by the time when I showed up, they were a third of the population of what they had been in 1920. And so we had to work to find a way for the people who went to college to come back. We had to find employment for the merchant class, we called it at that point, to try to get them to maintain investment in the community. Because I had gone through that myself. I went to Georgia Tech out of high school, and while I was gone, all the mills closed down. And when I graduated from school, it was 25% unemployment in that area. So I understood the situation from a personal standpoint, and I was never able to move back to that small town, but I knew a lot of people who liked where they grew up, places like Oakland, and wanted to go back there, but they had to have a living. They had to make some money. They had to do something. And so we worked with a lot of chambers of commerce, with leading business people, and started putting together a program to attract industries, not to replace the cut and sew operations that had gone to Mexico and now have gone to China and Pakistan and places like that. So what I became was a government operations engineer and repairman. I build things that people need to exist, whether it's a physical thing like a building, or it's a process, a workflow, piece of software, a way to do business, a campaign of some type for marketing, all those types of activities. I've worked on those in big places like Chattanooga, where I helped get started with their high-tech development. They're now called the Gigabit City, put together their plan for doing that. With Boulder, Colorado, which wanted to go a different direction, where they have a pedestrian mall downtown, but also with smaller communities like Colbert, Georgia, where they have an annual Canna Flower Festival, and try to have an identity established from that sort of process. The other thing I do is fix things that are broken, where there's work processes that aren't working. That's when I got hired at Florida DOT, they said, we need you to figure out how our finance system works because there's nobody here that knows how it operates. And that's a big finance. But what had happened was they had adopted the SAMUS budgeting process that had been used in other places in the state, and they had lost their ability to manage all the different funds that are bringing money into that organization. And so that nobody was there to really understand how it worked. Eventually, I became an internal consultant. That was actually my job title at Florida DOT before I became their strategic planner. That was interesting. That I got to go and work with the different sections in the organization to help them put together better management processes. City of Ocoee has allowed me to work on a part-time basis in terms of being able to take vacation time and go do little consulting jobs here and there. The last one I did, completed in December 2019, was to develop the national standard for transportation data and for governing state departments of transportation. That's now being implemented in 20 states. And to get that, I had to get 42 states to agree on how they were going to do business. Had to develop a common set of business rules and a series of meetings held all over the country. I worked at night to document what they had talked about, and I facilitated the discussion and those types of things. So one of the things I've learned to do is to listen. I have to listen a lot to understand how processes work, to understand what people really want, to be able to get them to tell me what they really want. You know, a lot of people won't give you answers, especially if they don't trust what you're doing, that they'll hold everything back. Well, how do you get them to open up? How do they get you to the trust to feel like that you're part of the solution, not something that's going to come hurt them or do something? That's going to be my first task here, is getting with all the different department directors and showing them that I'm here to help them be more successful. And that collectively, we're going to be able to do better things, implementing the policies and procedures that you would develop. So I'm sort of an instrument of your will. I'm the internal facing person to be able to go forth and be productive, following the guidance that you and Steve provide. I can talk about a lot of different stuff. You've got a lot of the highlights in the paper there. I grew up in the grocery business. Started working when I was 8 years old, because if you're in the family, that was cheap daycare. So I bagged groceries, stocked shelves, and I've worked ever since.
All family business?
That was family business, yes. My grandfather was Rotarian of the Year for Chattanooga, Tennessee, and then he became Rotarian of the 20th century. Wow. I don't know if you know much about the Rotary Club. He was a Harris Fellow. He was one of the founders of Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee. He had membership card number 83 until he died. Wow, at the age of 94. So long established lineage there.
Very nice. All right, well, we'll go around the table and first of all, your help, we call that the sacrificial lamb. So good luck to you. We'll go around the table if we have any questions or comments. Sal, let's start with you, and kind of, I guess we'll tell a little bit about ourselves as we go to give them just a brief history. So under an hour and a half, Sal.
Commissioner here in Oakland since 2015. I had the privilege to be part of this team and replace Mr. Willie Welch, who was a commissioner here for 30 years. I don't know, 36, 35 years. 34. I mean, a big shoes to fill.
Right.
And I've been trying to fill them all along, but I really enjoy this, and just really enjoy it. So I just want to say that yeah, I'm with Vice Mayor. It's Mayberry, and I know that you want to keep on changing it, but Oakland is going to be known as the Mayberry of Orange County, and we want to stick to it and not let nobody else take that from us. And it's always our town. We feel like very protective of our town. It's a family here. As you know, the numbers are small, so everybody knows everybody here. Everybody knows them. From the west side to the east side, everybody knows everybody. One school, the kids all go to.
Right.
So tight-knit community. And we also have a small staff. So this is not a big corporate style, you know, coming from a big city. You know, you're going to play more of you're the face of the team here, but also almost HR liaison in between, you know, see it coming, you know, proactive. But I was gonna ask you some questions that you had here. Butler and Butler LLC,
Yes.
could you tell me a little bit about that?
First formed in 2002. We initially did business under the name Milepost Zero, and that's a transportation consulting. We got certified as a minority-owned business, woman-owned business. And we did work in highway safety primarily. That was based on my background running the highway safety research program at Florida DOT and being on the research panels at the National Academy of Sciences. So that also then became a mechanism for me to get my contractor's license, which I've still maintained. And that's primarily, we use it to get discounts on materials. I've got a nursery license from the state. So we like to buy a lot of plants and put them in the yard. We got a big yard. So get them at wholesale prices. I wind up with a lot of spam calls, people trying to sell me good loans, mostly for expanding my business. But Butler's been around for 20 years. We built some houses for people and remodeling. I did a lot of historic restoration and preservation kind of work in Orlando with the business initially. But mostly it's been a mechanism for doing the consulting work.
Built your own home there on
Yeah.
Avalon Road. Nice house, very nice.
Oh, thank
I
you.
admire it every time I drive by. I said, what a beautiful home.
Yes, it's become
Good
a
opportunity
bit of a
there.
famous house, much to my daughter's regret. She doesn't like anybody knowing where she lives. Everybody.
It's a nice corner, very nice, that town. And, but there's also, it's still active, Butler and Butler. This shows something about a trash delivery or pickup. Is that part of the Butler on construction? That was up. Something had to do with construction pickup trash, so I guess must have done the R&D.
No, this is what you found on Sunbiz or something, or?
Yeah.
No, we never did trash pickup or anything.
Huh?
I did.
Right. Rick?
All right, I've been the commissioner for 9 years, going on 10 now. I replaced Mona Phipps after her third year of her last term, and I was appointed to finish her last year out, and then I ran unopposed for the next two elections. We have 4-year terms, and then so we just had an election this year for the first time in 16 years, and I was the one that had the privilege to actually have to run and campaign and all that good stuff. And thank God that's over with.
We have a mandate from the people now.
Yeah. Yeah. I moved to Oakland 22 years ago, but bought the property about 4 years prior to that. Bought the property in 1996 and moved in 2000. Native Floridian, born and raised in Lakeland, Florida. I think that pretty much covers it. Only question, I mean, you got a very impressive background here, but you said you're part-time with the COE right now?
No, I got to do consulting work part-time. I'm full-time with Ocoee.
Oh.
The first 2 years I worked there, I was a contractor. They hired me to manage a number of construction projects that they had going. Since I was a licensed contractor I just finished my master's degree in engineering in 2005. So they hired me to be their CIP manager under contract. And then after a couple of years offered me a job full-time. And then in 2012, they created a department that had a lot of different pieces that didn't really fit where they were, that sort of matched the variety of my background, supervised those, you know.
So do you still doing this consulting?
Very, very, like I said, the last thing I did was in 2019.
Okay.
The only prospects that I have right now, which are quite remote, the Clay County Administrator has been talking to me about helping them write some aviation subdivision land use regulations for them. They have some of these places where people fly in and out, kind of subdivisions. And they're trying to find a way to protect adjacent development so that they have the safe glide paths and things to land there. They have 3 of those in Clay County. And they've been talking to me about some strategies for how to come up with that. And it's mostly just been on the phone. And there's a federal project where VHB has asked me to be potentially sort of a subject matter expert on transportation safety. And it would be, if it happened at all, it would be something like I go to a meeting for a couple of days, a few times here and there. So it's the consulting part is very part-time. It helps pay for the house and things.
That's all I got.
Awesome. Joseph McMullen, one of the commissioners as well. Got appointed in 06 and been here since then, unopposed. A little bit about me. I'm originally from Florida as well, born and raised in Miami. Finished school in Tallahassee, Florida University. I'm a pharmacist by trade. Still doing pharmacy work. And just love this beautiful town. Just happy that you're here. One of the things that impressed me is the capital improvement program and grants. Can you, tell me some of the things that you've done over there in Ocoee as it relates to some of the capital improvement? And
right. Initially, a lot of the work was retrofitting irrigation water system, reclaimed water systems into existing subdivisions where you have to do a lot of directional drilling, underground sort of work. And you've got housing and everybody is around you, so you have to be very careful about disturbing those things. Then it got into some CDBG funded projects where we did complete reconstruction of all the public infrastructure in some neighborhoods there. I designed and built some of their parks. Worked on the cemetery. Fixing some things around it. The Lakeshore Center, which is the largest venue in West Orange County. True. Did that original construction and then the expansion later on. I did the original work for the city hall that we're moving into this month. A lot of those kinds of construction projects. I'm a certified project manager and can do both software kind of projects and physical construction kind of projects.
So did they have a grant writer over there that did all the grant writing on submittal and you just pretty much managed the project, or how did that work?
I was the grant person. In fact, I just got one this year from Representative Demings. It's to redo the water sewer lines in the downtown area.
Yeah, we need that same one here next year.
Yeah, I also did the lab project over there. The stimulus money from 2009. Did some reconstruction projects over there. Highway reconstruction project.
And I forgot to mention, I'm involved with Tri-County. I missed the meeting that you received. Home Rule World. I wasn't there. He accepted on my behalf. I was caught up at work, doing some screen stuff. And I'm also involved with the Florida League of Cities. I'm a board member of the Florida League of Cities. So I look forward to bouncing some ideas off you and coming in. We're working alongside each other to penetrate all those state and federal persons.
Right.
So
I'm our lobbyist in Washington.
Okay. So we don't have a Washington one. I hope we could get, some dollars or some sort of high, but we have 2 state ones that Steve and the mayor interacts with along with myself. So yeah, definitely. Looking forward to you coming on board.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and I am Mike Satterfield. I'm the vice mayor. I have been here for a long time. 98, I got elected, and the job is just a blast to watch it go from the 600 people that we started with to what we have now. It's just phenomenal, and what goes along with it, trying to keep it small. It's hard, but it's all been pretty much doable. I'm a Floridian too. I was raised in Satellite Beach, and Disney brought me here, of course, like every other kid in the early 70s. But my career was with Pepsi-Cola. I spent 30 years with Pepsi before I retired. And then they have just several businesses you know, after I retired, gone through there, but, and I am a resident. And it's hard for you. And it is, and everyone has reflected, you know, just how unique their town is. I'm sure everyone says that their city or their town is unique, but none of them compare in my mind to what we have here. It's a great little town. So I don't have any questions for you. It's a very, very detailed resume that you have. So pretty much anything that I wonder if he does is in there. So the proof will be in the pudding with that. So that's, I've always said too, that we hire a town manager to make the decisions, and if he has the decision, then we pretty well trust what he says too. So that's me, and that's questions for you. I will tell you, as a commission for all of us, and I will speak for Kathy also. Kathy and I have rode this train for right around the same amount of time forever and watched the lot go on. We're a unique group where we don't always agree, but we always get along, and we always walk out of this building saying, you know, well, maybe I can see your end to it. So we got a really, really good group of people. Rick forgot to tell you, he is also the liaison for the Oakland Nature Preserve, and Sal forgot to tell you that he actually is our Metro Plan representative. And I am the representative for the school. Kathy and Hap, they do everything else.
I'm Hap by any.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's my nickname, Hap. So you hear Hap, that's what he's calling me by my nickname.
You know, that's the Mayberry part of it. It just comes out. So, they are always with Steve going to Tallahassee and lobbying and working, you know, very tirelessly for the town. So we all have a specific job. We all, it's just a great group. As you'll see, we just always, we trust each other. I guess that's what it is. So, and that is all I have. So, Steve, you have anything else you want to close with, or?
No, I just, what I'm going to do is, I will get with, Jack on an employment agreement, and we'll start working out the details of that, and, get a start date, and, allow him to do what he needs to do with the city of Ocoee, and get this process moving forward.
And in that agreement, we'll have that Tuesday as a dress down day. Hawaiian shirts are accepted.
Yes, we can talk about that.
I finished second in a Hawaiian shirt contest at Colorado DOT when I did consulting work out there.
Only second.
Only-
Well,
They had to.
He's out.
Be an employee to win.
Oh, okay. So, all right, well, as all goes smoothly, then welcome. Anything we can do individually or collectively to help you.
Thank you.
All right.
Don't be surprised if the fireworks that you had over there, they're not gonna be over here.
No,
No. We don't have all those,
Events, special events.
yeah, over in Ocoee.
You here.
And I commission meeting, yeah,
that's,
so. So don't be so surprised when you see how it's hugging and kissing and all that kind of good stuff.
Don't get carried away.
Oh, you were part of the parades and special events, so
Yes.
every year you guys have those
Yep.
concerts with, you're not gonna have Vanilla Ice here and, or, you know,
Yep. We do the MLK parade.
Tim McGraw.
Black History Month essay contest,
Mhm.
Fiesta de Flores.
Oh, I like that one.
They need to get that started up again. And of course, we're talking about doing the Christmas parade, but the Lions Club's not doing it.
Mhm.
You'll be tied up with Christmas. Yeah, you won't be there anymore. You'll be tied up with Christmas here.
I'll be to go on.
And Easter, yeah, you gotta check out our new museum, so it's.
Yes, well, I actually already worked for the city of, the town of Oakland. In a volunteer basis, my wife and I maintain the demonstration garden.
Okay, awesome.
Very good.
She does well.
All right, then. So it is 25 until 7. I will adjourn us until 7 o'clock. So just whatever you guys need to do it.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Sure.
Okay, we'll be back at 7 for the long night.
Well, I said at least.
Alrighty.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock, July 12th. I'll call to order the open Avenue Town meetings. Please stand for the pledge and invocation. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Sal, if you would, please.
Father God, thank you once again for entrusting us with your town. And I ask that you give us your wisdom and discernment, and that we make decisions this evening that are best for our town citizens. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Roll call.
All right, Commissioner McMullen. Commissioner Pollan.
Here.
Commissioner Ramos.
President.
Vice Mayor Satterfield.
Present.
And Mayor Stark is not here, but we have a quorum.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Before we get started with the public forum, we do have a mayor's proclamation that I would like to read tonight. It's not on the agenda, but it came to us. So I will start off mayor's proclamation, Town of Oakland, acknowledging and honoring the contribution of Francine Coleman Postel. Whereas Francine Coleman Postel is a lifelong resident of Oakland, Florida, and whereas she was born to Reverend Samuel and Gertrude Harriet Coleman, and whereas she graduated from Florida Southern College in Lakeland with a bachelor in science degree in sociology and a minor in political science. And whereas Francine Postel served as mayor of the town of Oakland from 1987 to 89 and as a town commissioner from 97 to 98. And whereas for 21 years, Francine Postel taught school at Ocoee Junior and Senior High Schools and is listed in Who's Who Among American Teachers. And whereas Francine Postel was a very active member of Mount Zion African Methodist Episcopal Church, and whereas Francine Postel served as a board member of Retirees and Friends of Orange County Community Action and Head Start, and whereas Francine Coleman Postel's prevailing mantra is, I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody about something who can say anybody. And that's a mouthful. And whereas Kathy Stark, Mayor of Town of Oakland, previously proclaimed April 9, 2017 as Francine Coleman Postel Day in the town of Oakland. And whereas in 2017, Oakland officials dedicated the Oakland Avenue Charter School Media Center to Francine Postel to thank her for her years of service to the community. And whereas the town of Oakland commissioners wish to once more publicly acknowledge and recognize the contribution of Francine Coleman Postel to our community. Francine Coleman Postel taught us the importance of giving back to your community. In witness thereof, I hereby set my hand and cause the seal of the town of Oakland to be affixed this 12th day of July 2022. And I believe nobody is here to accept this at the point. So Commissioner McMullen, if you will take this and make sure it gets into the right hands. Okay. And I do have one other thing that before we move on, and this actually comes from the Florida Pharmacy Association. And I know that this guy just loves this stuff. He just revels in it. So we have been advised that there is a RQ Richards Award for outstanding achievement in the field of pharmaceutical public relations in the state of Florida. And it has been presented to our own Commissioner Joseph McMullen by the Florida Pharmacy Association on July 9th, 2022. Congratulations. Thank you. And I will say that it is added to one of the very many things that Commissioner McMullen does for us. He is, so active in this town. We just appreciate you. Thank you.
I thank you.
Okay. So now we move to public forum. Is there anybody in the audience that has anything they wish to talk about that is not on the agenda? Yes, sir. If you would come on up, state your name and give her a go. Keep it as brief as you can.
Yes, Carlos Esquivel. I live in 1408 Pine Street in Longleaf. As some of you may know, last month was Pride Month. As many communities around our community celebrate by doing proclamations, by doing parades, by doing events, I was hard to find that I didn't see anything from this town. No proclamations, nothing. It's as if the month didn't happen. Oakland continues to grow. We're a very diverse community. And as such, I think it's important that this community celebrates that diversity that makes us Oakland. For example, we have a heritage center that you could do an exhibit on. So I just hope that you take into consideration next year, June 2023, and do something acknowledging the LGBT community and Pride Month.
Duly noted.
Thank you.
For bringing that up.
Can I say something about that? Sure. We're real good at taking recommendations. Years ago, we used to do a Juneteenth festival here and we stopped doing it. And we didn't do Juneteenth here. And I just sent the email to our staff and say, hey, let's do Juneteenth next year. Next year.
Next week.
And so, we don't catch everything, but when we get recommendations, we follow through. So.
Yeah, I given a recommendation.
Right.
Because marriage center would go a long way.
Right. So,
We-
just want you to know, we do listen.
Right.
And we don't capture everything. That's what I'll make sure you know that as well.
And the older well, never mind. So, okay, anybody else? And just for the record, as it is on our agenda packages, the Zoom meeting is no longer interactive. Folks that would like to, they can view it. Is that correct? If there's any comments that want to be made, they're either asked ahead of time or they are after. So, so there is no interaction with the TV at this point. Okay, next is the consent agenda. Everyone had a chance to look at it, read it. What's your pleasure? Because I can't do it this time.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second. Have any other discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
And we have a consent agenda. Thank you. Okay, we're down to ordinances, and our first one is the first public hearing.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
I think the majority of the people here are for the items that are on other policy matters.
Okay, you want to go?
Can we move that up and do that before do section 6 first and then come back to section 5?
They all look like they're real interested in this other stuff. I don't. But I think if you're the town manager, we'll do that for you. All right, other policy matters. Is there any, we in the right order?
Yes, we can do that, the right order.
Okay, we'll start with the acceptance of the historic African-American cemetery reports.
Okay. Thought I was gonna get an opportunity to see how this thing worked before, but I'm really optimistic here. Look at that, it's right there. And many of you have received the zillion page, 150 some odd page report, very nicely and thoroughly done. And let's see if I can figure out how to go forward from there.
Just be doing there, Jay.
I know it's gonna work. Now, that might have helped.
Earlier.
There it goes. Okay, I did that. Yeah. Okay, so you see the cover, and we're going to cover a number of those topics. You see people working out there, which we had, and we were very lucky. We came in #1 on this matching grant with the state, and got us a nice little grant, and we hired Cardno to do this work. And there you see the cemetery over there. And I know that some of you actually haven't been over to the cemetery, and I really would recommend that you go take a little jaunt over there. And I'm going to kind of skip over to get to the forward part, because there's a lot of prehistory here about the flora and fauna of Florida and this part of it. But the first important milestone on the cemetery is that the Spear family came from North Carolina. They actually started buying land and bought some land and dedicated a piece of land that you can sort of see here to the town and for a cemetery. And so there you see on the left, you see that the actual cemetery right there. And you can see the railroad up in here and many years ago, and the Tildenville Cemetery, African American cemetery today that's active. And that's easy to see. You can't really see this on the State Road 50 today, but back in the day, back in 2014, the Scout Project came in, and you can see some notables here. I think Betty is right there, and Betty Wade was one of our chief instigators on this little project, and she's here tonight, as well as Mona Phipps, which I'm very, very happy you're both here to see this, because this is something that she hadn't gotten involved in this. Who knows what, but fortunately, somebody had the leadership to do this, and this cemetery land was given over to the Tildenville Cemetery Group to maintain. And they did a beautiful job of making a nice little gateway kind of arch there, which is still there today. And really hoping it goes forward. And there you see right up to today, the plat of the Longleaf development that was platted after all the Florida Department of Transportation and everything else came through. And you see the cemetery itself right down in the corner there. And so it makes it very nice to get there. You've got a nice paved path through there. And over here, you see the amenity that was put in by the Longleaf Pulte Group. And you can kind of see where the walkway starts winding it around to that area. So there it is. You see the Florida Turnpike down here, and it's an interesting place to visit, and and you can start to see some of the slope there. And you look off in here, and you see there's a lot of vegetation. And so when you look out here, there's basically the swamp, or also known as a karst, that's out there, and you see how the houses go right up to the edge there, and you can also see, I was able to catch a bird that's sitting on that right there. Very important, but that's what I'm into. What you don't realize here is that this thing is, oh, sorry, I have too many stories, but at any rate, you know me. And so there's the karst down there. It's a 30-foot elevation is the point that I want to make here. It goes way down, which is one of the reasons that when you started burying people there, it was too hard to bury them as you got into the steeper part of the site, and it was just impossible to do because they couldn't keep the holes open for the graves. It would just fill in with the sand. So that was one of the reasons that the leaders at that time went over to the other place. And you sort of see it there a little bit looking off, and you see the turnpike in the background and a couple of houses. It's a really pretty site. It's very contemplative, and it's nicely fenced, at least from the basic development side of it. And what you see here is that there have been burials there from the late 1800s through the 1950s. We know of 48 marked graves with 16 that are identifiable. And there's a lot of details if you looked in there. And I'm going to hope this thing does what it's supposed to do here. Um, Okay, so I'm going to ask Elise to click it on with your, just your hand, just do a space. There you go. Okay, so now you're going to see a very interesting piece that Cardno did to show us how these graves are today, how you can look at it from many, many different angles. And this is just something extra that they kind of did with all the different layers, aerials, and there really should be a soundtrack here. I'm not sure what the tune would be, but at any rate, it's it wouldn't be Grateful Dead, I'm sure. And but you can see, look at these graves there. That one is a very prominent one. Not sure who's buried there. But it was completely covered with vegetation before Cardinal came in there, and they took it apart. And this one you can actually tell who it is, and you'll see that Harriet name, which is a well-known name on one of the streets in town. So we're just about done here. A lot of palms, as in hand palms, markings on some of these graves. Ones you can see. There's one of the more interesting ones is the shell pillars. Those shells, some people feel that has to do a reference to resurrection. But it's not necessarily Christian in origin. It may be Native Americans to some extent. So I think we can end with that. Just yeah. Okay. So there is our star of our show. Betty, if you want to raise your hand and see. No, you're not doing anything. Thanks. But there you are back in 2008. And if you see, this is one of the points of the study on your left there. You see that the stone, the monument, has fallen down. Okay, so in 2021. And that's something to be emphasized when we get to the part where we look at how you maintain and how you enhance this valuable cultural site. And there's one picture of one of Betty's relatives. I think it's a son of, it's an uncle. Thank you. Thank you. Not too many pictures. In fact, this may be the only one of somebody who's buried there.
That's 40's dad. That's 40's dad.
Brother.
Brother, okay.
Wow. He's actually buried there?
He is, but we don't know where it is. It's one of the unmarked.
Oh, wow.
My grandfather's there. That was the one that was on the photo before. It's stumbled over. But he modified. But the grandfather died in 1918.
There were a lot of people buried there during that 1918 pandemic. Kind of brings us up to speed here, unfortunately. But here you see one of the funeral home graves. There were quite a few of those, and you see that it's a little bit rusted and cracked, and but you can actually read some writing on there, which is Willie James Croakey's grave. And now those two top pictures were taken in 2008 of these really interesting crafts type grave markers. And the ones on the bottom are the same markers, but they were cracked because the trees fell on them. So again, we've got something to do here, folks, and you can see on the left back in 2008, and thank goodness they took pictures of these so that we can actually see them. And on the right is the same grave. Here, they searched and searched and searched for this grave marker. It's a part of an old Model T axle, and unfortunately, they couldn't find it. Fortunately, we at least have photographs of it. And here you see the group. Why don't you hit it? Let's just hit the, yeah, over on the left there. It's just kind of fun to see him go. Yeah, okay. Anyhow, we'll just move along and back, and there's quite a bit of what to do. These are the recommendations, maintenance, and vegetation. You can't just go in there and pull the weeds, folks. You got to cut it. You can't just go out and yank out these trees and grind down the stumps. You got to carefully cut them. The invasives is what we're supposed to do, and but you can't even go in and put a bunch of whatever it is, chemicals on there. You don't want to do those kind of things.
What happens if you pull it accidentally? I mean, what's the cause of not doing that?
Well, you'll very possibly be disturbing the actual grave.
That close?
Yeah, because it's like it was mentioned before. I mean, a lot of these were not buried in caskets, and so they've deteriorated. But we still know, based on the infrared, how they can tell where the graves are.
Incredible.
And were. So it's a delicate site. Headstone cleaning, putting them back, tree trimming, just all these pieces in here. And there's, like I said, there are a lot of don't do's in here. You don't want to go crazy with your weed whacker, so to speak. You can use them, and they did, but you gotta watch and know what you're doing there. So that would be one important piece of maintenance and preservation is grave markers, fixing them, restoring them, preserving them for the future. They do get, as you saw, they got knocked down, they get, they deteriorate, especially some of those funeral markers. So we start then talking about what is the town going to want to do to ask the questions and to get people involved, and to, what do you want this to be? The site in the future, and with the African American community, what does that group want? And we do have some hints there that have been bandied about, and we'll talk about that here. And they talk about public outreach. There's a lot of good material in here, making story maps. It's a fabulous educational opportunity. You've got this book, you want to put in some signage in there, and maybe some, you can do this on the internet as well as you can just put it right there on the site that people can actually see it. And positively, we've got some future resources. But before we get quite to that, this is just one idea as a possibility. So you have this wonderful cemetery that's just sort of almost coming out of the ground from being, deteriorated and forgotten. But you have a lot of interesting sites, starting out with the Heritage Center, which is a great, fabulous venue to start, say, some kind of a tour. You can walk along. You've got the nature. You've got the Mather-Smith pergola, those pillars out there. Talk about town halls, one of the only buildings left. Spear Park, the town dock, which has its own designation and dedication. And you know, you have that whole family monument out to the MI Homes development, which is kind of neat, that it was revitalized. And of course, you have this cemetery that you've got a great piece of information, including a proposed pathway to be able to walk through this cemetery and, you know, get a little bit of the ambience. And I tell you, it is a great site. It's terrific for bird watching. There's a lot of birds out there that are just, you know, cackling and screaming, and just the it's a nice natural site, but there are ways that you can go in there and make trails with some native plant vegetation that'll help you wayfind, so to speak, through there without getting onto the others. So there you have the just a general thought of this site being experienced as a spiritual site, contemplative, respectful. It's a nice place to go, and that's kind of just an overall theme that I think y'all have been sort of in favor of, shall we say?
Yes. We have time.
Yeah, and so there certainly can be more talk about it, but we really do have an exciting year coming up on the cemetery, because fortunately they came through with this grant, and so now you have $85,000 essentially to go and do many of the things that it says to do in here, including but not limited to the completion of the wrought iron fence to go around the rest of the site, because it's got kind of a broken down piece along Turnpike, and Mike Parker's going to be the man on that. I've turned it over to him, and you've got just all the things we talk about: replacing markers, wayfinding. These are the things that you really have that I think will be just terrific in the future to continue to enhance the town's cultural identity, and you know, keep it and enhance the thoughts and the Mayberry-ish, whatever you want to call it, the
Word I was looking for.
maintenance of the town. And anyhow, so I think that's about it. Let's see here. Yeah. So if there aren't any comments or questions, I'll just go.
Does Betty or Mona have anything they would like to say? Come on forward. What is your name again?
Yeah, so we can hear you.
I promise I'll be good. I just wanted to say that this is really exciting, the chance for all the years of work and everything that continues to go forward with the cemetery. I would really suggest, if you're interested at all, that you do go back and read the history. It's fascinating.
Yes.
Especially the part about the shells on chapter 4, page 24. It will tell you specifically where they came from or where we found that they came from. And it's really interesting, the history of this cemetery and how it relates back to our community and how it began with this community and the people that were here. The only thing I would suggest that we do go slow with a few things. There's a few things we never had thought we would incorporate, but we've got time that we can look at other things as we move forward. I'm real happy to hear that the fence will be continued all the way around. And so it's really a positive, good thing. That's all. I just have a few concerns, but we can talk about them later, about how things are done, but it's nothing major. It's positive. It's really a good thing.
Cool. Betty, how about you? Anything?
No, I would just like to echo Melvin.
What do you mean, no? You're getting up here walking? Yes.
Just please, yeah, just echo Melvin, just we spent years on this and have a lot of history. So we've kind of got an idea of what's gonna work for it. And I think this is good, just to get it moving.
Cool.
And over. But we've been on this since 2004, 5, so it's been a long time. And thank you all.
Well, we would like to thank you guys. You have been pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. So without particularly the two of you, we wouldn't be to this place right now. So you can always look to this as a major accomplishment that you guys were the start of. So thank you again. So, and everyone that's been part of it to help clean the place up. It's a team effort.
Thank you for everything. Labor of love that you have put into it, both of you. Wow, we owe you
It's
a lot of gratitude, and we're grateful for having you. And we really, really are just thankful that you did this. I have a question for you, Benny. I know that you're one of the family members that's still alive of someone buried there. Who is there a poll or any information data of how many family members are still alive, living today? Are you one of the only ones, or?
With my family, it's huge. We've got a huge family, but it's my grandfather and then uncle that's there. The remainder of the family is in the other cemetery.
Okay.
So that's where the majority of the family is buried, but it's a lot of us still around.
So there's a lot more family members for different graves that are
From the other families?
other families
Families.
that you guys know of?
There are, we have a list of them. One of the things we're trying to stay away from is actually naming people that are out there, because every time something comes up with this, we got a influx of calls coming in saying, well, my so-and-so is buried out there. And we can't tell them where, because the graves, most of them are not marked. I think there are 69 marks, and a lot of those are not names. What we've had done was PVC pipe put in spaces where we know there's somebody buried, even though there's no name there. And as Jay said, the plan is to come up with some type of marker other than the PVC pipe. But yeah, family members of other people buried out there, we turn up a lot.
Oh, wow.
And I think we've got a list somewhere.
Thank you.
But we always thought we should avoid listing them out there, like
Yeah.
they said.
The thing is, we'll just put a kiosk with the history or something there and not name it, because you can keep going back adding every time somebody says that
Correct.
they have somebody buried out there. And they don't understand when you say, I don't know where they are.
Correct.
Or they can't find them. And that's disturbing to a lot of people.
Thank you, Betty. Thank you, Mona.
Thank you again.
I want to add something to it. A lot of people don't know, but on a statewide level, this is a major project that's being done in other municipalities. I think we're one of the only ones that's kind of partner up and kind of taking an ownership. And so I'll be honest with you, I brag when I get in front of some of my other colleagues around the state and tell them what we're doing, because it's really actually the Florida Black Caucus did an essay for students, or students wrote an essay about the importance of preserving, these cemeteries. And the winner was out of the city of Ocoee. She's a graduate of Ocoee High School. Her name is Taylor Watson. So she wrote an essay, and she was the only one out of 16 essays around the entire state talking about the importance of preserving these.
Yeah,
And so she was the only winner. And that was the Florida Black Caucus of local elected officials around the state that put on this contest. And that's one of the agenda items and one of the main programs that the Florida Black Caucus is pushing around the state to try to preserve this. And, I even tell them about some of the things that we're doing. And so there's some places, some cities and towns, they don't even know where they are, the actual grave site,
Right,
the actual grave.
right. And we get that.
Right.
To Port Orange.
Right, okay.
One that was restored there. And, but there was also one at the site that had been just pushed in a corner.
Right.
Right there. So some of them they couldn't find. And so we kind of explored to try to get an idea of what we really wanted to happen out there with this site. So
But it's what the Black Caucus is really still pushing it statewide. And we have a meeting in August. They're going to continue to have that conversation. So it's being pushed as far as the importance of these things happening and continue to try to do the best to find them and, preserve them, at least let people know where they are.
let us know. We've done ground penetrating radar out there and everything else. So, we've done a lot of things.
You all want a picture? To commemorate this, would y'all like a picture?
And I've got a couple points to make real quick before. So the one thing I would ask is that y'all accept the report, and what we're going to do next steps, we will provide a copy to the Winter Garden Heritage Foundation so that they have it in their archive. Also have one that will be available at the Heritage Center, and then it'll be available online digitally, so anybody can look at it. But I'd like y'all to accept that, so it's an official document. And then just a little more. So we've got the 85,000 grant. So we will be concentrating now on that during the course of the next year. But I have also, when I bring you the budget on the 26th, I've included some funding from the town to start setting at least a base layer of maintenance for this. So once the budget's approved and we get to October, Mike will work on getting a consultant or somebody that can do that kind of work per the instructions, so that we can keep at least a baseline maintenance on it, because things get overgrown rather quickly. So, but the grant will take care of a lot of things, of taking care of some of those invasive trees and some of those things, and getting the fence all the way around it. And then from there, we just need to have a baseline of maintenance to keep it up till we, and everything will be incremental. What this looks like in a few years, what the commission wants to do as far as a path and how the interactions happen. Some of that will happen with the grant, and then some of that will be up to the commission down the road. But we just want to at least set that baseline maintenance and be able to continue to maintain it in perpetuity to at least a base level. And we can then work with volunteers and such to enhance that. So
Very good.
there's a lot of opportunities here. So
I just want to comment that Steve was basically instrumental in getting us to do this, to get this grant. Because there's a number of, other historic grants you can go for. And I think he saw that this is what we wanted to do. We were able to find that grant. So I've been very happy to be the facilitator, if you will. It's really because you have good administrative leadership here to get you on the right track. And so I just want to mention that.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Steve.
y'all just want to
Yeah,
accept,
we
we can take a picture.
need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the acceptance of the historic African-American cemetery report.
I'll second it.
Okay, I've got a motion and I've had a second. Do we have any other discussion? I'll call for the vote. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed? And we have ourselves a report. Thank you. All right.
Ready?
I heard that you needed to be in front. Sir. See, that was part of the plan.
Bring it up there.
Hold this up. Yeah. Wait. Mary, you want to let you hold this up? Yeah.
Which way are we looking?
You're looking at me. Maybe we'll go three first. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 3, and 2.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, we'll say it all.
Yeah, some things you just can't get rid of.
I was good though. I thought it was.
We've done a lot of that. And we have several projects that we lined up for you, Betty, because you like that. Okay, all right, we'll continue, I guess, on other policy matters, and we can finish that block up. Next up there is Riley Farms PSP, phases 1B and 2. Eddie, you're back. Yes.
So. You all remember that not so long ago, you adopted, actually, there was a rezoning for this, but the phase 2 was the one with the rezoning. So this is the preliminary subdivision plan for somewhere in there. I'm not seeming to go anywhere. Here it is. Okay. So you see it's kind of on the northern side of the town, and it's really rather basic. If I could get to the next, we're at the preliminary subdivision plan phase. Of course, there's going to be detailed engineering and construction plans, although these are fairly detailed. But then, of course, after that, there's a final plat, which you'll also see. So again, you look at the different phases, and we're talking about that bluish looking one up on the upper right. It's phase 1B. Phase 1A is already platted, that yellow and pinkish. Phase 2, look at, and where it is, it's about 25 acres altogether, and 27 single family lots. See it there? Big lots, wide lots, 100-foot wide lots. And you see how it all connects with some of the pathways, and that's the one pointing out the one on Big Dick, kind of a nice nature sidewalk pathway that connects with all the others in this property. So we would recommend, as recommended by the Planning and Zoning Board, which is recommended here by the chair, that you approve this preliminary subdivision plan for phase 1B of Riley Farms.
The applicant's here if you have any questions. I tried looking at that and I couldn't, if there's a swell and berm system going to be installed mainly in the 1A. What is it, the 1B, phase 1B. Phase 2, I think, was far enough away from the lake and they got the retention pond. But I don't see a swell and berm in 1B. Is that planned or?
Afternoon, Commission, Andre Green, representing Bradley Farm. And so just so I heard the question properly, did you, what was your question? Was it
Is there a swell and berm system going to be behind?
Yes, sir. Along, are you asking along the lakefront lots? Is that right?
Yes.
Slopes, the land's all sloping this way. The answer is yes.
So there'll be a swell and berm before the wetland.
We're in the middle of engineering plans right now, working with your staff, your consultants. Absolutely. We are going to have a trail swimming in the lakefront lots. Absolutely.
Now, is St. John's requiring that, or is that just something?
Yeah, both. Well, I believe from what we learned from here, previous hearings and such, western side of phase two, next to nature preserve, anytime there's the developed homes, if you would, that they want treatment additionally before they go into a wetland system, especially a protected lake system like Apopka Base. So, but even if we didn't want to do it, the district was going to require us to do that as well. Right? And as well as protecting that berm so it can't be filled in. That's into the HOA docs. The district needs to review the HOA docs. Well, it cannot be filled in.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. It's a good question.
And this is just phase two, right?
Well, actually, what we're doing right now is phase 1B.
Okay, you're moving, okay.
So it's a simple motion.
How many did 1B have?
27.
27, so you had 72 and 27.
100.
Are we making a motion to, on pages 1B and 2?
1B right now, that's all.
Just 1B at this point, and then Jay's got another presentation for phase 2.
I'll make a motion to approve Riley Farms PSP for phase 1B.
I'll second it.
Motion in a second. Any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed? We have 1B.
Like on the bottom. Okay, good. So phase 2 on Raleigh Farm. This is the one where you had a rezoning and a comp plan amendment. So there've been a couple of steps on this one. And you can see that the little star moved over a little bit to the west. That section that's now part of the town, 100%. And you see that you've already been through several ordinances, annexation, comp plan amendment, and rezoning on this, which includes a development agreement. Now we're in step 4, and preliminary and engineering planning after that. And so you see over on the western side, phase 2 in the blue highlight there. So that's the one we're talking about right there. And right in the middle is extend down there. So and this right here, this curve is the trail. We're actually adding some nice park area, that trail area. So 107 single family homes on 72 acres. And you see that's the plan actually from the plan development master plan. And here we have this plan, a little bit different, but basically the same. And you see the drainage up on the lake, which includes a large drainage area, kind of midway over on the lake for this development. And then there's that Pulte drainage area that sort of on the right there. And you see that there are some small clusters of lots in the middle of this, with also some larger lots. Again, those more custom homes. So you've got 37. Is that right? I can't read.
Yeah.
I think it's 60 lots. There's the 6 smaller lots and then little ones. Yeah. So anyway, you've got a variety of lot sizes. The smaller ones being presumably with a production type of builder like Ashton Woods, very possibly, and anyhow, there's the same section that shows you the open space and some very nice pathways that connect this development together in and of itself, but also goes over towards the nature preserve, additional land for the nature preserve, as well as going over towards Spear Park on Vic there. It goes all the way through here from Jefferson. So that one issue that we've had is still going along. We're working with consultants and the applicant to come up with a so-called complete street solution. We've got another $85,000 work with here. This isn't going into the cemetery. This is going into the amenity of either a turn lane or some type of slow down streetscape amenity that'll basically slow the traffic down that comes through to get to Jefferson. And I'm sure that the developer will want to do something nice, because that's going to be the main entry into this project and all these nice homes.
And I'll just add to that. I met with the Bradley Farm Group yesterday, and I'll be talking with Mike Parker about it a little bit. But they're going to work with us on doing some sketches on that particular intersection, so that we can then move forward with and use that 85,000 to make some improvements that are consistent with that complete street that we're looking at. So we are working on that.
We recommend, as by the Planning and Zoning Board, that you approve this preliminary subdivision plan for phase 2 of Bradley.
Now, as we approve or disapprove, do we have to add in that we're still working on the entranceway?
Well, that's actually in the development agreement, so
Okay.
it's there automatic.
Okay.
Interesting.
I got a question. I know we talked in previous meetings about the possibility of have like a biking, walking trail going on the backside towards the lake. Is there any of that gonna develop? Are we gonna be able to put any kind of trail?
Sure. I believe the question is there effectively like a spur almost off?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was hoping.
Directly down Jefferson to the Lakeside Park. The answer is yes. It's 8 foot wide. It's on one side of the road. What we're doing is needling through a lot of the oaks out there. And so work with staff to have the right language to allow us to be able to move in and around some trees. That's why we're doing 8 foot on one side, not like 2 5-foot sidewalks and trying to wipe out right away. But the answer is yes, sir, directly to the lake.
Right.
Yeah, and it'll take you to there's going to be a town park down at the end toward at the water.
Great, thank you very much.
And part of what we're working on, so they're going to be up to the trail and connect to the trail, and then we're looking how to connect from there out to Oakland Avenue, because we've got some right of way along there. So that's part of what we're looking at as part of these sketches.
Anything else? Pleasure.
I'll make a motion to approve Bradley Farms preliminary subdivision plan phase 2.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Call for the vote. All in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed? And we have 1B2 now. We're getting there. You're chiseling down towards my house. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Good evening.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody leaves early, reverse our decisions. Okay, next budget transfer for the Star Street project. Who we got? Don't everybody jump up at once.
Renee, you like?
I don't have a sheet with me though, I apologize. Remember?
I don't have it with me.
So I'm completely unprepared, but from what we're trying to do you have it?
We'll give her $10.
That's just the summary of it right there, Renee.
Yeah, on the top.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just not my memo, that's all. Town manager Steve Coon provided information on the request for the budget transfer to the Star Street project. From time to time, adjustments need to be made to the budget for unforeseen circumstances. The Star Street project was included in the fiscal year 21-22 budget to be funded from impact fees. The funding allocated in the budget is $125,000. An invitation to bid was issued in May of 2022. We had 2 local companies submit bids for the project, and bid number 2022-22 in the amount of $393 was awarded to Valencia Construction Group.
393,000.
I mean, I was gonna think, what a bargain.
20 of those,
Yeah.
620 streets.
Sorry. 393,000 was awarded to Valencia Construction Group. Considering this was a large variance from the original budget, management is seeking approval from the commission to use impact fees for the additional $268,000 needed for the project. In accordance with the state statute Title 11, Chapter 163.31804, impact fees, the project can be funded with impact fees to improve access and traffic flows impacted by the new commercial construction. Management intends to bring forth a budget amendment to incorporate the changes approved by commission at a later date.
So essentially, what we need to do is put the funding in place for the project. And then the next item on that Michael talked about is the actual approval of the contract.
So we're looking for an extra about 200,000, correct? Please tell my street.
This is one of the vital projects that we're trying to get done for that north-south connection between Oakland Avenue and Highway 50, given another way out. It'll connect to the work that's already been done by Tractor Supply. Again, it did come in significantly more than what we expected, but at the time that we're bidding this is in the middle of supply chain issues, oil prices going up, asphalt prices are through the roof. In fact, I know there's even issues getting asphalt right now. So, but we would like to move forward with this project.
Okay. Did you have any questions? Pretty cut and dry. It ain't happy, but what are you gonna do? What's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve the budget transfer for the Star Street project.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Call for the vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? And we have our budget transfer. And next up is probably Mike Parker for the bid awards for Star Street.
Well, you kind of heard what it's all about, it's just how we have to adjust the funding. But we advertised for bids for the construction of that segment of Star Street between Oakland Avenue and the Tractor Supply improvements. The bids came in, we only had 2 bidders and we took the lowest one. They have worked for the town in the past. We're totally satisfied with their prior work. We checked them out. We had DRNP check them out, check their references and all that. We think they're more than capable of constructing it. In preparation for it, we did design. We had to acquire additional right-of-way for the street because Star Street in that area is only 40 feet wide. The right-of-way is, we just couldn't build what we needed. We managed to get a drainage easement from a resident over there. This segment will drain onto the town-owned property already. We just had to get that missing link in there. So anyway, we feel that this is it's in the best interest of the town to get it constructed, and we feel this is the best deal that we could put together. And I talked to the contractor this morning. He's anxious to get started.
Okay, so that is part of the cost is the stormwater, and there will also, because it's a very narrow right of way, we will have a sidewalk on one side, but not on both sides. But there will also be that pedestrian access that will allow you to walk down to Lakeside Church and or Tractor Supply.
Which side will the sidewalk be on?
Sidewalk is on the west side.
West side.
There's some relocation of some of the infrastructure that the Presbyterian Church has there.
So what about that big tree? The,
Big tree, we're gonna go around it.
go around it with a.
Yeah, that's one of the cool things about it. We are going around the tree.
Yeah.
That should help slow people down. I'm hoping.
We worked with Duke Energy on this to get their poles out of the right of way, so to speak. So anyway, it's been quite a task, but we got it.
How long is the project gonna take?
I think the contract period was 130 days.
Okay.
It will cause an impact to the charter school staging line. But I don't foresee it causing any more impact than the construction of the Lakeside Church, which
And how soon would they start that? Corresponds to a school year starting.
probably about the same time.
Perfect. Yeah, yeah, you go.
We'll do the best we can to coordinate that.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking.
Yeah.
This is the 130 days start.
Yeah, no, yeah.
As soon as we get a contract, so, we
I'll start tomorrow if we approve it.
contract and bonding and all that.
Okay. Somebody,
I'll approve the Star Street bid award.
Second it.
a motion in a second. Any other discussion? Call for the vote. All in favor, aye. Aye. And we have our bid.
If I may, the recommendation is also to authorize the town manager to execute the necessary contract documents. So if you all want to do that, could we?
Say, so moved, right?
So move,
What?
so move.
Executing the contract.
For the town manager to execute the contract.
You may.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made the motion, correct. So this will include. Manager to, correct.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second on that. All in favor? Aye. Aye. There we go.
Thank you.
Wasn't sure we got it. Okay, we'll go back to ordinances at this point. First public hearing of ordinance 2022-09. Where are you going? You of all people know how interested this is. You guys sit down. Bye, guys. Boy, they hope to.
Got to read the.
Yes. No, not cooperating tonight.
At least it's not blinking on you.
Okay, this is first public hearing for ordinance 2022-09, an ordinance of the town of Oakland, Florida, annexing by voluntary petition certain real property owned by Kendall L. Burnett, declaring property tax parcel identification number 19-22-27-000-00-003 with an address of 17500 Broad Street and located contiguous to the town of Oakland in accordance with the voluntary annexation provisions of section 171.044 Florida statutes and other controlling law, redefining the boundaries of the town of Oakland to include such property, providing for findings, providing for conditions, directing the town clerk to record the ordinance with the clerk of the circuit court, with the chief administrative officer of Orange County, and with the Department of State, providing for legal description and a map, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability, providing for non-codification, and the taking of administrative actions, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, so we got 3 steps. First one being the annexation. And there it is over on the west side, far west side, kind of towards the Lake Apopka Sound Phase 2. You see the site there coming off of the All Island area. And the intent and purpose here of the owner is to get city water, but also there's a benefit to the town in the sense that there is dedicating these to the town utilities. And they're not proposing any changes at this point to the property. So again, this is the first part of this step one annexation. You see it there. And it's about 2 acres, got a house on it. Got a joint planning agreement. Everything should be good. And recommend approval for the planning and zoning board's recommendation. When you do that.
Hey. Is there any questions? Oh. Okay, pleasure.
I'll make a motion to approve the first hearing of ordinance 2022-09.
Okay.
I need to close it for public hearing for the, just on a second.
Open it for a public hearing. Yeah.
All right, I'll close the town meeting, open a public hearing. Anybody have any questions in the audience? Close the public hearing, bring it back to the table. I've got a motion on the table. What's your pleasure? All in favor? Aye. Get it out. Opposed? All right, we have 2022-09.
First reading and now on the comprehensive plan amendment.
So this is the first public hearing for ordinance 2022-10, an ordinance of the town of Oakland, Florida, changing the town's future land use plan map designation of its comprehensive plan from rural and Orange County comprehensive plan to low density residential in the town of Oakland's comprehensive plan for certain real property owned by Kendall L. Burnap, being Orange County property appraiser parcel number 119-22-27-0000 -00-003 located at the following address, 17500 Broad Street, with an approximate size of 2 acres, making findings and providing for conflict severability and for an effective date.
Okay, and as noted, rural to low density residential. And you see the town's excerpt from the town's future land use plan. So this side will come out yellow on the map, so to speak. And I will say that the owner's representative is actually here in the form of Mike Parker. It was somewhat orchestrated this little exercise. So as recommended by the Planning and Zoning Board on June 21st, recommend approval of ordinance 2022-10. To amend the future land use map, from rural to low density. Town of Oakland.
Thanks. Which pleasure.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2022-10.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. I'll close the meeting and open up public hearing. Any questions from the audience? Except you. I'll close the public hearing, go back to the meeting, and we have our motion on the table. I'll call for the vote. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed? And we have ordinance 2022-10. Next, first public hearing of ordinance 2022-11. Hello.
Bless you. Thank you. This is the first public hearing for ordinance 2022-11, an ordinance of the town of Oakland, Florida, amending the town's official zoning map designation from A1 agriculture in the county to R1 single family residential in the town of Oakland for certain real property owned by Kendall L. Burnap, bearing property tax parcel identification number 19-27-0000-00-003 and making findings and providing for conflict severability and for an effective date.
Okay, so now you see it, the house, single family house out in the rural area around here, A1 to R1A single family residential. Can you see it? There you see that we actually did post the zoning sign there, and we recommend approval. Ordinance number 2022-11.
Okay, so there's only one building.
Yeah, it's one house there.
Is there any intentions to build any other houses on here? Or just...
Not at this time.
There's no intention at this time. Let me just clarify the owner property to me. He's an elderly gentleman. He lives down in South Central Florida. Driving up here for these meetings, he did not want to do that. We actually have a process in place where somebody can answer questions on his behalf. It was sanctioned through the town attorney, so I'm his proxy, if you will. He's not changing the use. It's a rental property right now. He shares a well with two other property owners. He wants to get out of that deal. The well's not on his property. He wants to get out of that deal. And that's why he wants the town water. Our town code says that you must annex into the town if you want the town water. So he is voluntarily annexing, and he is voluntarily presenting us with an easement over 30 by 300 feet of his property as a future replacement of the, you may recall when the Turnpike project came in, we lost 2 of our 3 Turnpike water crossings. This could be a future crossing of a replacement for that.
Cool. Okay, thank you. Any other questions? 2, 3, go.
I'll make a motion to approve for public hearing of ordinance 2022-11.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I close town meeting, open the public hearing. Do we have any questions from the audience? I'll close public hearing, bring it back to the town. I'll call for the vote. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed? And there we have 2022-11.
Oh,
The only thing that the guy doesn't have is a good judgment. He puts you as his talking. I'm not touching that. All right, next we got first public hearing of ordinance 2022-12. This is a short one, so go ahead and read.
Okay, we're just gonna read it for a minute. Okay, this is the first public hearing for ordinance 2022-12, an ordinance of the town of Oakland, Florida, annexing by voluntary petition certain real property owned by London Central LLC, bearing properties at parcel identification numbers 30-22-27-0000, -00-003, 30-22-27-0000-00-03, 30-22-27-0000-0032, with address of the 17997, 17979 State Road 438, and located contiguous to the town of Oakland in accordance with the voluntary annexation provisions of section 171.044 Florida statutes and other controlling laws, redefining the boundaries of the town of Oakland to include said property, providing for findings, providing for conditions, directing the town clerk to record the ordinance with the clerk of circuit court, with the chief administrative officer of Orange County, and with the Department of State, providing for legal description and a map, dealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability, providing for non-codification, and the taking of administrative actions, and providing for an effective date.
Okay.
Can't find it. I think we can.
One of you, though.
Look at your, on your piece of paper here. Probably the easiest way is to look at the aerial photograph.
I found it.
Did you? Okay,
Hold on.
we're almost done, but.
I know. The applicant's here. I want to be fair to him. There we go.
There it is.
There it is.
Okay, so this is actually a couple little parcels, about 2 acres. Don't ask me how to pronounce the names, but it's way over yonder, right on the Lake County line. As you can see it there, and that's Lake County, and here's Oakland Trails. So, and then there's a street right there. So you see, this is the
Killarney Station.
Killarney Station. Thank you, sir. And there you see it with a couple of buildings on it. I will mention it to you that there is a code enforcement case on this in Orange County, they called. And I wouldn't call it something serious in the sense that the folks next door were a little upset about the chickens that were over on the eastern side of the site. But it is something, and they did move the chickens. Well, so that nobody's screaming over there about the chickens, there are roosters too. But all those buildings out there that you see kind of on this site right here, there's no permits for those buildings, just kind of an FYI. And we discussed this matter. Of course, it's up to you what you want to do. I do think it's a good idea to go ahead and bring it into the town because there's never going to be anything of any substantialness until it eventually comes in to get the water and sewer that they'll eventually want. This is just another shot of it. They actually own also this right in here. I'm going to show you the next shot just so you sort of see it over where it says Lake County parcel. So the site on one side of the county line and another little, maybe an acre, maybe not quite on their side. And so they'll have to go through whatever they have to do to get this all coordinated between the two entities or three or who knows. But would it have to be anything else? But be that as it may, I think for long term, it is something that do want to bring it in. This is annexation. There's no comprehensive plan amendment. There's no zoning at this point. They have not gotten to that point. I've had conversations with with one of the owners, I'll call him, and he wants his son to build him a nice little retirement. Are they here?
He's here.
Okay.
Oh, okay, oh, yeah.
I'm here.
Okay, good. All right, so you can ask him what plans that they may or may not have. We're just rolling along and we do recommend approval of this ordinance for annexation. Okay.
Can you come up to the front? please? What's the, sorry, your name, your full name?
Name is Daulat Nat Kisor.
What's the plans you have, future plans?
Future plans, and I was talking to the secretary earlier. We want to put a nursing home on this project.
Okay.
We haven't gone to the plan, we're waiting on the annexation to take place, then we're gonna present it to our engineers to do that plan for us. Concerning, no, let me go up a little bit, concerning those chickens that are disturbing the neighbors, we got rid of all of them. We shed all the pens and everything.
You've just recently purchased this property, right?
No.
Or have you?
I think about 12 years.
12 years?
Yeah. On the lake side, we must be over 5 years.
Okay.
Lake Complex.
What was the purpose of annexing here into our town?
Because we need a water on the property.
Okay.
And the water run right in front of my property line here. I give them permission to run it here.
Okay.
Anything else? You said you wanted eventually assisted living there?
Yes, sir.
What are all those buildings?
Say that again, sir.
What are all those buildings?
They're buildings that maybe bought the property, they were on there.
Chicken coops.
Pardon me?
Chicken coops.
Yes. No.
I'm kidding, man. Don't worry. Yes.
Nursery.
No.
Nursing home.
Assisting living.
Yeah. Nursing home.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I'm going from chickens to nursery.
I'll save it. Any other questions?
Have no wings anymore.
Well, ultimately, to have, some quality development on that, he needs access to the utilities, so.
Okay,
So I just got one question on it. So you own property on Lake County side, so this building that you're planning would actually be on across both the county lines, so it'd be on Lake County and in the town of Oakland?
Big decision, a very good question you ask. We have enough property on our Oakland side here to do what we're planning to do. What we're suggesting, put the building down on the Oakland side and use the rest of the Lake County side for parking or whatever.
Okay.
Just to substantiate what we can do on this project. Okay, but that's a question I want to ask. Can we annex the lakeside into Oakland to make it one grand project? I know I give Jay a big task one day. I know that.
No, we can't do that.
Can we? Okay.
No.
But there certainly can be, we've got another subdivision that we've coordinated with Lake County on, that part of the subdivisions in Lake County and part of it's in Oakland. I'm certain that we can, if you come up with a viable project, that we can work out the logistics with Lake County.
Wonderful.
So.
Thank you.
okay. All right, any other questions? Okay, thank you, sir.
Sure.
All right, I will close town meeting and open the public hearing. Any questions from the audience? Close the public hearing, bring it back to the table.
We haven't made a motion yet.
We have not made a motion yet. Thank you, Rick. Got a call for a motion. Which one?
I'll make a motion to approve first public hearing of ordinance 2022-12.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Call for the vote. All in favor, aye? Aye. All right, so we have 2022-12 minus chickens. Yeah, we didn't get invited to dinner. I don't know. It's there. Thank you. All right, and now we're at the second public hearing of ordinance 2022-15.
Second public hearing ordinance 2022-15, an ordinance of the town of Oakland, Florida, vacating the existing utility between lots 168 and 169 of the plat of Oakland Park, unit 6B3, lots 168 and 169, Oakland Park, unit 6B3, according to the plat thereof, as recorded in plat book 107 at pages 105 to 108 of the public record. Orange County, Florida, providing for severability, conflict, and an effective date.
Okay. So we've been through this, and anybody going to talk about it? I think.
Well, this is the second public hearing. So we went through the full presentation on the first public hearing, and this is essentially putting two lots together that makes sense because of the proximity to the trail and how they're laying out this particular lot. Will certainly be much more visibly appealing from the trail side, even though there is a large buffer there. The one thing we did add that we were missing with the first public hearing was they have to get all the utilities to agree to this. And the one that was left out was Winter Garden. They have gotten that approval from Winter Garden. So we have all the utility approvals. So I would recommend approval of the second public hearing for ordinance 2022-15.
Okay. You guys have any questions? Of the motion?
I'll make a motion to accept ordinance 2022-15.
I'll second it.
You guys are working hard over there today.
They are.
Gonna earn that paycheck.
That's right, because we were thinking, All right, I will close the meeting and open the public hearing. Do I have any questions in the audience? I will close the public hearing and bring it back to the table. Call for the vote. All in favor, aye? Aye. And it looks like we have our ordinance 2022-15. All right, we've done other policy matters. We're down to town managers reports.
I'll keep this rather short. I just have one thing I want to bring up. So our alternative water project was in the budget, the state budget for $2 million, and it was vetoed by the governor. But there is a pot of money for local government initiatives within the budget, the state budget. We got a notice from Representative Geraldine Thompson's office a couple of weeks ago. I was going to talk about it on the 28th meeting, but we didn't have that meeting. We cannot put that project into the pool. We're not supposed to put vetoed projects in for funding for this coming year. But we do have a project within our water master plan that we'd like to move forward with. We'd like to ask for $600,000. I need to get this to Geraldine by the end of the week and really just kind of finalized through James Harris and Larry yesterday with Gunster. I just kind of finalized the project with them. Mike had already put together basically the proposal. And basically what we're looking to do is enhance the reliability of our water system as well as our fire suppression system with the fire hydrants. So right now, the group that's building the secure storage across from, on the south side of 50, they are going to bring a water line in under Highway 50 and to their site in order to have water and fire flows. We want to pick it up from where they bring it to, and we've already got the easements necessary to do this. Bring it up from where they bring it to, further back south to where the turnpike is and over and then underneath the turnpike and tie it into the Johns Landing water system because it's right now it's a dead end system. This will create a loop, and Mike's here for any technical information that you need, but it's actually about a $700,000 project. We're asking for 600,000. And I have just a consensus that just so you all know that this is what I'm going to put into Representative Thompson's office. I need to get it in by the 15th. We've got the paperwork filled out. And again, it is part of our water master plan. It's been in plan for a while. It gives us that, again, the loop system, the reliability that we need, as well as the proper flows we need for our fire suppression. Just really more informational. I just wanted to put it on the record that this is what we're going to go after. So we will continue on the alternative water project. That is a very important project to us, but unfortunately I can't use that for this particular pot of money.
Okay. I have some work to do.
And then the last couple things, just reminder about the fourth Fridays from 3 to 6, music on the porch. We've got those coming up in July and August. We've got we've had some great bands. And then Oakland Police Department's doing a back to school supply drive. Drop off through July 27th, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're at the police station.
Do they have a flyer for that or something?
I don't know if it's been out on Facebook yet, but there are flyers over there if you want to.
I think it has.
Well, I'm really on something social media, really.
Right.
Yeah, Alicia has those,
Okay.
because that's what those were printed off.
Has it been put on social media yet, you think? Has it been placed out there yet? Okay.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know she's getting ready to do.
If she hasn't put it out, she will be putting it up. And then just the last thing is I've got coffee with the manager on Thursday. We'll be over at the Arts and Heritage Center this month. Had a nice turnout at ONP last month, and we're going to do it at the Arts and Heritage Center. So if you have anybody that's got questions about things going on with town, please send them my way.
I'll look for it. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, is that it?
That's it.
Parker?
I have to play Kathy now.
Parker?
Oh, yeah. No, just plan to be part of the
See, now I'll play Mike. Oh, come on. All right, we'll go to the commission. I'll start at this end. Rick?
I don't have anything.
Cool.
I don't have any.
Just one thing, I went to the Tiger Bay, luncheon today and they had the debate of the state reps that's gonna cover us, state, House District 45. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people running for that seat. Thompson's in that seat now. She's running for Senate, so she's going, let me go back. Bracy is termed out as our senator, so it's gonna be 2 people running for Bracy's old seat, our senator. And Geraldine Thompson is resigning from her House district eventually and running for that Senate seat. So needless to say, we're gonna have two new state representatives for us, for the House and for the Senate. And I just ask that we all just, pay attention to those two races because it's very vital, as we all know, to getting funding on the state level. So we'll see what happens. I talked to one of the representatives, one of the candidates. I told him, I'm not about party, I'm about issues. I said, we got a lot of things going on in Oakland, and whoever's in that seat has to be a friend of Oakland. And we've been very blessed over the last 8, 9, 10 years, especially starting with Geraldine Thompson, and she was a rep and a senator back and forth. So I just want us all to pay attention to this race, and I guess they're gonna probably reach out to me and try to talk to us, but those two seats that represent us on the state level is gonna be critical to our success.
That it?
Yes, sir.
I missed one thing.
Time's up, sorry. Go ahead.
Jay Martyr. Jay,
Oh, yeah.
will he be here the next meeting?
He will be here the next meeting. He's going to finish up these, the second public hearings on these items. And then, but that'll be his last meeting.
I figured since he was wearing black, today was. It's not. All right.
Okay, I just have a couple of things. First, I want to share our school grade. We got the grade and we got a solid B. We got a good B. The details, I'll go over them overall for you. English language, we came out with, they score everything points to 100. So we ended up with 65 points in English language. The district did 55, the state did 55. In math, we did an overall average of 65 with the district at 59 and the state at 57. What they also do, they do learning gains. Our learning gains, we got a 62 where the district got a 53. So the trend here is we beat the district and the state at every level. When we were in science, as a matter of fact, we got a 74, district got 52 and state got a 44. Our 74 was the top 16 out of 174 in our district. So
Wow.
Did very good with that. They also do, they gauge the bottom 25% of the students in each of these levels too for their learning games. So for our lowest 25%, we ended up with a 41 where the district was the 39. That was in English language. And in math, we ended up with a 61 with the district at a 60. Total, we had 58% possible points. The level goes from 54 to 61 to become a B. So we were just a solid B. So I've got to say that the first year out of the bulk of the pandemic, that's pretty miraculous what they did at the school. So staff there did a wonderful job. They also got a satisfactory rating from Orange County for their documentation review. So everything got turned in on time or close to on time. Anyway, so it really ended up being a very successful year for the students and the staff over there at the school. So that's that.
Thank you, Principal.
Pardon me?
Very good. Thank you, Principal.
I don't know if she's on or not. The second thing that I have, and I will say you brought it up, Jay, it ties in. I will be out next meeting. There's just no way around it. I was supposed to be on vacation, but with circumstance, I kind of put everything off so that we could have this meeting. I will not be here next meeting. So you guys, just kind of make sure your calendars, in case Kathy can't be here again, that we do get a quorum for that meeting. That being said, I'm leaving first thing in the morning and I'll be gone for 2.5 weeks to North Carolina. So for me, Jay, your black is appropriate. This is the last formal meeting that I will be with you. And I personally want to say thank you for everything over the years that you've done and enjoy your retirement. Just keep watching that Grateful Dead, man. All right. All right. So that's all that I had. Anybody else got anything else? Joseph, you're up.
All hearts and minds are satisfied. Let's adjourn. It is 8:35.
So
I mean,